Hello and welcome. This is Jerry Mills. We frequently hear that President Trump's tweets are unpresidential, that somehow that's beneath the dignity of a high-level official or anyone in a position of responsibility. Wrong. They're saying basically two things. One, they're suggesting that there's something new about tweeting. It just hasn't been done by a president or any other official before. And the other is that it is undignified. Twitter is new, but tweeting is not. Tweeting, that is to say, concise messages with impact, are time-honored traditions by even the highest level officials. Let's look at a few of them, okay? Let's go back to 1944, December 22nd, 1944. General Anthony C. McAuliffe was surrounded by the German army, hopelessly outnumbered. The German commander sent him a message asking him to surrender because the situation was hopeless. When McAuliffe received the message, he crumpled it, threw it in the waste paper basket, and said, "Oh, nuts." Well, he didn't cuss. And, well, his officers had to reply somehow, so they took his word and said, "Nuts." When the Germans received that one word, nuts, they sent another message. They said, "Is the reply affirmative or negative?" Colonel Joseph Harper, replying for the general, said, "Definitely not affirmative." March 1942, when MacArthur was ordered to leave the Philippines, the American military attaché to President Ramon Magsaysay said to the Magsaysays, his liaison, "I have a good idea for a battle cry. We shall return." Carlos Romulo, the attaché, replied, "No, don't say we shall return. Your government has lied to my people so many times over the past 6 months that if they say we shall return, nobody will believe them. But if MacArthur says he will return, my people will believe him." MacArthur's speech consisted of only 142 words, a little bit more than a tweet, but very concise. It goes, "The President of the United States ordered me to break through Japanese lines and proceed from Corregidor to Australia for the purpose, as I understand it, of organizing an American offensive against Japan, the primary purpose of which is the relief of the Philippines. I came through, and I will return." That was only said. As you know, the words "I will return" were transmuted to "I shall return." Thus far, I haven't mentioned any presidential tweets. Before Twitter, there was the typewriter and presidential news conferences. President Calvin Coolidge didn't hold regular press conferences. He had a typewriter sitting on a table in the middle of the room, and whenever he had something to say to the news media, he'd walk over to it, type a few words, then go back to work. Once when he was on vacation, he wrote a few words on a slip of paper and handed it to his news secretary, and the news secretary wrote it on little strips of paper. And when Coolidge returned to Washington, they called a news conference, and Coolidge just handed out those strips of paper to the news reporters and said, "There'll be no more news for you today." Well, the news consisted of only 9 words. "I choose not to run for president in 1928. Going back to 1904. In 1904, a Moroccan bigwig named Razzouli kidnapped Ion Perdicaris, who had been an American citizen and who was believed to still be an American citizen. And so the American government did quite a bit to try to get him freed. There was a lot of rigmarole, skullduggery, and even treachery from our supposed allies taking place. No progress at all was being made, and a lot of people were just losing interest. But Secretary of State John Hay said just a few words that changed everything. The government wants Perdicaris alive or Razzouli dead. Those words electrified Washington and the American people. It set the ball rolling, released a cascade of events, and Perdicaris was released alive. Going back still further, there was the siege of the Alamo. On February 23rd, 1826, Generalissimo Santa Anna sent a messenger to Colonel William Barrett Travis, demanding that he either surrender the Alamo or the defenders would be chastised unto death. Well, Travis's tweet in reply made history. That certainly was the short way of starting a war, but it led to the independence of Texas and eventually to Texas becoming an American state. I do think, regarding President Trump, the main reason that the fake news media resents his tweets is that they are successful. This is Jerry Mills. Thanks for watching, and good day.